This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Hello, hello.
Hello, everyone.
How we doing? How we doing?
Well, we're doing like the Raider Nation is doing, scratching our head, trying to figure out what's next.
Banging our head against the wall.
Yeah, some of us are jumping ship, and some of us have decided we're not going to come back and watch any more Raider games. But I want to watch. I want to watch it to see what's going on with this team. But we have a guest this week.
Yeah, we do.
Hello, Hollywood. Like to introduce my DC guru, one of them. Guys that when they talk, I listen. Okay. Jeff Whipple from Washington, D.C. Thank you so much, Jeff, for coming on and joining us this week. Appreciate it.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. It's an honor to be here. Thank you guys.
Well, let's get this whip started right away. And we're gonna start by grading and I hate to go to the grades because we're gonna go back to them for the midseason review, but let's start right off the bat talking about Jacksonville. And Jeff, the way we do it is we go unit by unit. Okay. And starting with the offense, I want you to kick us off. Your grade, and give me one comment that you'd like to support that offense.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you know what? First half, you have to give the first half an A+. What they did was great. The second half, I don't know really what happened. I don't know if it's the lack of or the over adjustments. I don't want to say lack of second half adjustments because it seems like we overcorrected. We kind of fixed what was not broken, and decided to change the game plan up. I don't think there's any question that the second half of the Jacksonville game offensively was an F.
So total grade was a C, right?
Yeah, a C, a C is generous. Yeah, I think the second half was so bad it might even be a C minus or D plus. Yeah.
And
That's C minus. Yeah,
Captain, your grade on the offense this week in Jacksonville?
yeah, I'd have to agree with Jeff. But I wouldn't say the entire first half, but overall, it's obviously a tale of two halves. The first half that they were clicking, we were performing. People were catching the ball. The balls were thrown where they could be caught. The running game was there when it was needed to be there. We're up 17 points. Hey, we're up 17 points. Where have I seen it? I've seen it at least 3 times this year. We're up 17 points.
And then
the bottom drops out. So I would have to say again, overall, because we didn't do anything in the second half, and it was alluded to by I don't know, some dude who's making a lot of money that said that there was a change in the play calling in the second half that was even addressed by the coach himself, who said, "I ain't mad at him for calling me out. I ain't mad at him, but there's something there as well." I would say C minus, D plus is kind for the offensive performance. You start out by gangbusters. You need to remain at least on track. I mean, you could lose a little steam, but don't let it be like all your steam is gone. And that's what we've seen in several games.
and Heidi, your grade for the offense?
Well, I'm not going to be as kind as our gentleman here. I'm going to just say a D. I'm not going to give them a complete F, but a collapse that great doesn't allow them to squeak in with the average of a C. It deserves a grade lower, so I'm going to give them a D. Vicky, I don't even disagree with you.
Yeah.
I don't even disagree with you.
And it's absolutely amazing. But see, now this begs the question. I mean, do we have a body snatch at halftime for real? I can't understand teams with 2 personalities a personality per half. I mean, I'm thinking coaching. I'm thinking also that you got to give some credit to Jacksonville's halftime adjustments too. We never think about that. I mean, they've been watching us for 2 quarters do things, and they got guys that can break down and analyze plays too and make adjustments.
Well, you said 2, which implies we have the capability to do that as well.
I'm going to assume that we have this capability, although for the past weeks what I think about game planning, game prep, but you got to give a little bit of credit to Jacksonville for making the adjustment on both offense and defense. They brought the heat to Derek Carr and that O-line. And once again, I thought I was looking at the New Orleans game. Our O-line got blown up in the second half, where Carr had the perfect bell curve of a pocket in the first half. So Jacksonville definitely stepped their game up. And then where was the next chess move? I knew it wasn't coming. So I'm with Heidi. I'm going to give it a D.
And you know what? To piggyback off that, if I can, Peggy, that's Jacksonville has a really good defensive line. Look at Josh Allen. You look at Trayvon Walker, their number 1 draft pick. That's what they brought those guys in there to do. And I just feel like every week it's the same story with the offensive line. Sometimes they play well. Sometimes they run block well. Sometimes they don't. It's like an on-off switch that gets flipped somewhere. And I don't know who's in control of it. I really don't.
Well, let's go right to the defense. And Heidi, I want you to start us out. I need a grade for that defense.
They get an F from me. They get an F. I'm sorry. That stat that you put up on Facebook towards the end of the game, on the season, the defense is 16 for 16 of giving up touchdowns in the red zone, 32nd in turnovers and 32nd in sacks. it was just another compounding of the errors, and they get a total F.
No.
Total F.
Go to Captain. Your grade on the defense this week?
My grade is what Kerry Walton has.
What is it?
It's hands over the face, like, oh my God.
It's an oh my God grade. I mean,
yeah,
is there something
it's
below
like,
F?
Yeah, and again, also what Jay says, it looks like we have one guy on defense and Max Crosby who's held on every play.
Don't get me started on Max either. But
Yeah,
you give him the same F.
Oh, at least an F. F minus. One of those things. Yeah, for sure.
Jeff, your grade for the defense?
Yeah, I mean, I if there was anything lower than an F, I would give that. I mean, I look at who we're playing, right? We're playing Jacksonville, for goodness sake, and their best receiver is Marvin Jones, Zay Jones, our old
one of our guys,
wide
right?
receiver. Yeah, our old wide receiver, and it's like we can't do anything. They just traded James Robinson, who was supposed to be one of their best running backs. Now that Travis Etienne came back, but we can't stop them. We can't. I mean, we allowed Houston to score 20+ points on us. If there was a grade lower than F, I'd give it that. I just
yeah, that's what Sinister said.
I know, and we look at the stats. I mean, we gave up 403 total yards to this team, 166 rushing yards. These are things that just take the game plan in a whole different direction. And I don't understand week to week why McDaniels is surprised that his defense is blowing up. I mean, how many games do we have to see this, Heidi? I mean, before he knows that the offense has to be on point, because we sure don't have a defense that can keep people out of the end zone. And I give that same F. Now I want to go to special teams. And Captain, what did you see in special teams this week?
Actually, I'm going to give an A on the punt game, just on the cause that Cole on one series had to punt 3 times in a row. Because he punted when the dude, and they called him a streaker. He wasn't a streaker. And I said last night, that's a good looking kid. He's skinny, and he had some upper body, and he had the hair. And I'm like, damn, I wish I looked that good when I was that young. So, but he came onto the field when Cole had already punted. So that play was done. And then Cole had to punt again, and there was a penalty. So on the next play, Cole boomed it I don't know how far it was, but it was a booming kick. I just on the fact that his leg was wore out within like a minute and a half or so, I'm going to give him an A. We didn't screw up. We didn't screw up any field goals. So I'm going to be kind and give the special teams an A, because they were the only team that seemed to perform that game. And Carrie liked that. Carrie liked that dude as well, because she's given the hey on that comment, about the good looking guy. Mike Sarah with a D. I don't know why.
Well, I'll explain why Mike is correct, but let's go to Jeff. Jeff, you're great for the special teams this week.
Yeah, I mean, the unfortunate part is that they're the most consistent group that we have on this team. So, I mean, for that, I got to give them a B+, A-. I mean, Carlson did what he can do. AJ Cole had some good punts, but it's special teams, and all you want. I mean, I would like to see more out of the return game. I'm always worried. I think a lot of you guys are like me. I always get worried when I see Hunter Renfrow running punts or kicks, because that's third stringers on special teams getting free shots at guys who are so integral to our offense. I hate seeing stuff like that. So I'd like to see more out of the return game to kind of help with these longer fields if the offense is not going to be as crisp every single week. So, Yeah, I guess I give it a minus.
Heidi.
I'm going to be kind and give them a B. Cole and Carlson, you know, did a great job, as always, as expected. But I am worried about our return game, and I am worried about our return coverage.
Mhm.
That I saw some very concerning things on the coverage teams, and I did not like what I saw.
And Heidi, you had to see Agnew, who ran back 2 kickoff returns last year. You had to see Agnew with that 60-plus yard return and say to yourself, oh my God.
I must have been getting something to drink at the time because I
Oh,
missed
yeah.
that.
And I mean, this guy is, anybody who does any research on Jacksonville has to know he's dangerous. Okay. He returned 2 kickoff returns last year. One after, actually, it wasn't a kickoff return. It was actually a punt that, or a field goal, a 60-yard field goal that went, and Agnew was there. Next thing I know, 105 yards later against the Cardinals, he's in the end zone. And I said, okay, the Raiders have to know about him. Right, wrong. As usual, Cole, Carlson, no complaints, but I have to give the unit a C this week. Some of our commenters were a little bit less generous. And now we go to the coaching, Heidi.
Well, and I will add the special teams got that B because of Cole and Carlson.
No, I know they're our favorites, teachers' pets. I know.
Yeah.
But now we go to the coaching.
F. Can I give a lower grade?
No,
F
you
minus.
cannot. We are not going to enlarge the scale because we got people who disappoint us week after week. And and give me some feedback. What is it about it? Is there one simple thing to talk about? I know you could grab many things, but Heidi, is there one thing that's just stood out to you about the coaching this week?
When they find something that is kind of working, they go away from it. It's the same thing they've been doing all year. Why on earth would you go away from Davante Adams? Why?
No, wait, whoa. They didn't go away from Davante Adams. He was actually thrown to in the second half, but the passes were shit.
Well, let me also say, it didn't look that way to me on the thing, but Jeff, your grade on coaching this week?
I mean, it's got to be an F overall. I mean, just like Heidi said, you can't go away from what's working. And far too often, this staff, and let's just stick with this year, this staff always goes away from what's working. I understand that this is supposed to be a run-first offense, but you don't go get Davante Adams and have the pass-catching weapons that we have on this team and not tailor your offense to what you have. You just don't, and that's bad coaching.
And Captain?
Well, like I said,
follow up right on Jeff. I mean, give me something that stood out. Give me a grade, and then give me something that stood out.
I'll give it an F as well. I just wanted to make sure that I did see Adams drop a pass, but it was because it was way behind him and low. Okay,
maybe I saw him get his hands on 3 of them.
Yeah,
I'm just
in the second half, he was thrown to a couple of different times, and I don't recall him catching one of them. I don't recall. I might have missed one. He seemed to catch everything in the first half, and he didn't catch anything in the second half. But again, the passes that were thrown in the second half to Adams, to Renfro, way behind. Most of them were behind and low. Most of them were behind and low. They were just not there. So coaching, and to belabor the point, yeah, F, because we have something, we don't stick with it, and then even when we do go back to it, when we figure out we should go back to it, it's too late, and it's a cluster.
And ladies and gentlemen, let me give you one of the most telling stories about coaching, and I agree with all of you on the grade. Davante Adams gives a press conference. He makes the same comment that you guys made. Why didn't they keep passing to me? Well, first of all, there's the top wide receiver asking, why didn't I get the damn ball? That's because when we threw your way, you were triple covered. And why were you triple covered? Because linebackers and safeties could drop back into coverage because we had no running game. Jacobs got 10 carries, 43 yards. Davante, you run to set up the pass. And it's just like I want to shake Josh McDaniels. You run to set up the pass. Where did this rule come from? Somebody help me out. Where you pass to set up the run. Where did that come from? You should have been running first quarter. You should have been running second quarter. It helps wear down the defense, keep their offense in the field, and set up misdirection, play action. You can do whatever you want to do once they fear that run. Davante, that's why you were triple covered when we threw to you in the second half. Davante, the O-line didn't allow Carr to throw you the laser passes that he threw to you in the first half. Where is this coming from? Coaching. No insight, no situational adjustments. It seems like they're watching the Disney Channel while the game is going on.
They're watching cartoons.
I mean, they have to be watching something other than what's going on that field. I mean, you just cannot. And Captain, that was a slight follow-up to why you were saying all the balls were behind. They were over and overthrown. You're darn tootin' when there was 1,200 pounds of meat in Derek Carr's face nearly every pass play in the second half. He was barely getting it out of there 3 and 4 seconds. He was barely getting to his second read, right? And it didn't happen every play, but we didn't have those rainbow pockets that we had in the first half. And Derek really needs that. Now I want to go right to something. I'm going to slip something in for everybody. Since we are priding ourselves on staying up with the news, of course, you heard what happened today to our friend Jonathan Abram. Have you had time to have thoughts, Heidi, on the release of Abram?
Well, I know that you cared for the young man a little more than I did. I have thought he was a liability for the last several seasons. And now, whether that is because coaches couldn't coach him up and they weren't able to put him in the correct role, which I know you believe they should have been able to, but they were incapable of it because the coaches stink. But it was time for him to go. And I know some people are saying, oh, we didn't trade him. We could have gotten something for him. No. There was no team was going to give us anything for him. We would have taken a 7th round pick for him if somebody would have offered it. I liked the kid. You know, he or young man. Don't want to.
He's a kid.
He is a kid to me. Yeah. He's a kid to me.
Yeah.
But I like him. You know, he seems to have the heart that we need on the team. But he can't cover for anything, and he can't wrap up a tackle. It was time for him to go.
Mm-hmm. Jeff, your thoughts on the outright release?
Well, you know, it's I knew all of this was coming once they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. I mean, that should have been alarm bells should have been going off in everybody's everybody's heads, everybody's phones. When you don't pick up your fifth-year option on the players that you drafted, they're not coming back.
Sinister Rain.
Yeah, no, it's not happening. They're not coming back. So I think what you have in Abram is just he's in the mold of Steve Atwater. I mean, he's a 1990s heat-seeking missile, strong safety in a
like
2020 NFL, 2022 NFL, where that kind of play is getting flagged out of the NFL. And he wasn't a cover corner when we drafted him, and that's not what Gruden drafted him for. They drafted him to be a tone setter, and you can't set the tone. Well, you can't set a positive tone when you're getting flagged, because the hits that you're making are flaggable offenses. So, yeah, I knew it was coming. It was only a matter of time, and I figured once the trade deadline passed and we didn't get anything for him, I knew it was only a matter of time.
Okay, actually, and I'm gonna, and I was trying to find a comment earlier, and I couldn't find it. It's like, and we had him on the roster, and he's a first or second round pick, okay, but we let him go now. The compensation is gone. You don't get a compensatory pick for a player. To my knowledge, you don't get a compensatory pick for a player that has gone before the season is over. I'd have to check on that, but that's what I was looking as well. I said, if you have him on the roster this long for half of the season, maybe it is this amount of games that you can get. I don't know. But if you knew he wasn't part of the solution and you kept him here for this long, and then you let him go, that's what I have to ask is why? Because he actually, and I'm not a big Abram fan, but he was playing better in spurts at times this year in short periods of bursts than he had been the last couple years. He had Mike Mitchell syndrome, where he was going for the wallop hit, and he had toned back on that to a point. But then you let him go at this portion of the season when you knew he wasn't going to be. They were trying to trade him last year. They were trying to trade him this past year. They didn't get any hits. They didn't get any hits for him. They kept him on the team, and now you let him go is a head scratcher. I don't know, and somebody has to find out what the rules are for compensation, because again, you just let a guy walk without compensation, and that I would like to hear about.
And not only did you let him walk, he's able to walk right into Kansas City, San Diego, or Denver, right? Yeah. Where they actually have defensive coaches that know what they're doing. And this is the thing I said about Abram and Heidi. You're right. I know I have a little bit more, but what I have for him is sadness. This is an example, just as a prime example of what has happened to Raider defensive draft picks year after year after year. I don't know whether these guys can play at all, because I know the defensive scheme is whack. I know the defensive coordinators are far below par. I know that they don't know what the personnel that can do, their skill sets. And I know they're not teachers, okay? So for them to pronounce a guy, we can't help him, he's got to go, I don't trust their judgment, not one bit. We've had too many young players, and Jeff, you can back me up on this, too many young players through here that we just threw up our hands and said, oh, he can't play, he's terrible. Who told you that Abrams was a coverage guy? He, as Jeff said, he's a throwback. He never was a coverage guy. Yet where did we see our defensive coordinators? By the way, 3 defensive coordinators that this young man has had in 4 years. That's just criminal, okay? Where did we see them constantly try to insert him? Heidi, they were always putting him in pass coverage. He don't do that.
Right.
This pony don't do that trick. What does it take for a Raider defensive coordinator to see that? I mean, your thoughts. I mean, I don't understand why you're trying to make him do what he can't do and not teaching him to do what he does do and do it better. He needs to be close to the line of scrimmage.
And at the beginning of the year, it looked like, oh, wait, maybe they were going to try that.
Yeah.
They
were
sent
doing
him
it.
on, they were
Blitz
sending him
too?
on a blitz. But
And some people think he should have been moved to linebacker. I agree. He's that, Jeff, he's that hybrid that we were talking about.
Yeah, I think he could have made the move to linebacker earlier if they wanted him to do that. But even at the linebacker spot, you still got to cover some. And if his coverage abilities were just that bad that the only you just couldn't play him, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I watched him play. I watched a couple Mississippi State games when he was playing, and I'm just like, oh, he's just a hitter. That's it. He's just a big hitter. That's all he is.
Captain, we may be talking about what Jeff said, a throwback. Now I want to slip right in to our mid-season evaluation. And I want people to be just on point. One thing you saw that you liked, and a grade, and then one thing you saw you liked, and one thing you saw you didn't like. And I'm going to hold you to this, and I want to go right to Jeff first. First of all, offense. No, let's start backwards this time. Coaching. Mid-season review over 8 games. Let's give it a long-range look.
Wow. One thing I see that I like out of coaching.
Tough.
No, you know what? It's actually not that tough. I like the commitment to Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
The fact that McDaniels comes from a system, that smash mouth system, and the Patriots, and even when he was with the Broncos briefly, where it's been running back by committee, and he brought his guys in. He brought in Amir Abdullah. He brought in Bolden. He drafted Zamir White and Brown. I thought when they didn't pick up a Jacobs 5th-year option, I thought, okay, they're going to give him a little bit of run, and they're going to go with their guys. I'm very pleasantly surprised that Jacobs has been given the chance to earn his spot, to take his spot, and McDaniels has given him that chance.
What one thing you saw you didn't like about the coaching?
Just
First
one?
mid-season review. Yeah, just one.
Just one.
Gotta
Oh,
move
man.
on.
It's like Lay's. You can't have just one. So the trick plays, it's ridiculous. Yeah, why we have Devontae Adams running jet sweeps when we have DJ Johnson. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
And where they're called, right?
Oh,
the time
yeah.
of situations.
Oh,
that they're
yeah.
called
Just
in.
the situational coaching in general is just crazy. I mean, we're kicking an onside kick and we're up 3 versus Denver. I'm like, what are we doing? I don't know. I don't know. So a coaching mid-season grade, I mean, just solely on the strength of how we have used Jacobs, I can't give it an F, so I'll give it a D-.
Mm-hmm. Captain?
Actually, he took mine. As far as the
There's
ridiculous.
always another, right? Like Lay's potato chips.
No, I mean,
You're gonna have to
because
go for the
that
sour
one was,
cream, right?
that is so easy. You know, using using Tay Adams on a jet sweep. Okay, when you have DJ Turner, you have Keelan Cole who can actually run like that. Even when we had the kid we let go of that couldn't get the playbook, that was from San Diego. I can't see, he's gone. I can't remember his name. Johnson.
Yeah,
We
was
had
that?
Johnson for that, right?
Yeah,
So if you're gonna run the play, and again they're running it in the wrong time, okay. But if you're gonna run the play, at least utilize the personnel that would be best used for it. Johnson, Turner, Cole. Those are the speedsters, not Devontae Adams, not Renfro. I saw Renfro on an end around once this year too. I'm like, are you
Heidi, is
effing
this
kidding
true?
me?
Did you see Renfro running the
Yeah,
end around?
I saw Renfro on an end around too, and I'm like, what? And it was the trick plays that now one of them actually worked. I liked it, the fact that it worked, and I can't admit, it was a couple games ago it actually worked. I'm like, yeah, it worked, but I'm like, so what? It
All
was
right, Captain,
one
you've
play.
given us what you didn't like. Tell me one thing you did like about the coaching. Mid-season review. Again, give me a grade.
And this is going to cause a lot of flack, but people were, and I know you have been pissy about it, and I know that Heidi's been pissy about it, but they've actually the shuttling along the offensive line, which is not normal. They're still trying to find the right combination, and when they finally kind of figured it out, it's been at times it's worked for them. When you have Mumford playing that extra tackle, and then they had the kid that they traded for, and he was a great extra tackle, and then he goes and breaks, or not breaks, but he dashes his ligament or whatnot. He's gone for the season. He was going to be that extra guy. And 1 week, literally, we trade for him. We use him as the extra tackle, and then he's gone the next week because he's got a ACL or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're still trying to find themselves, but and I had not seen it before. But then again, it was something that had been done before out east. I'm not going to say that team, but we all know where they came from. It was what part of their repertoire, but they've used it. It hasn't been a detriment, but it's something that they stuck with because it's what they believed in. And if it's what they believed in and they're going to try to make it work, then I'll give them the credit for at least seeing it through.
Give me a grade for the coaching.
D.
Mid-season. And guys out there on our comment panel, we want to see your grades too, mid-season grades on coaching. And now we're going to move right on after we get here from Heidi. What's your grade, Cap?
Delta.
D.
A D. I can't fail them because the people are not when they put into plays, they're not performing. I'm going to give them a D.
Cap. Heidi, coaching. Mid-season review.
I've been sitting here trying to think of something that I liked. I'm coming up with a big negatory.
Thank you, Renegade. Graders till death. Thank you for giving your grades.
I will the D. I will give them the D. Simply because they did win 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I liked was not a consistent thing, but they did commit to Devontae Adams.
Okay. In their own mixed up way.
And I did like that they tried to establish a number 1 receiver with a player that was actually capable of being a number 1 receiver. So
And Heidi, what did
I'm stretching. You know, I'm stretching, trying to come up with something.
good enough. And now to give us one thing you didn't like.
One thing I didn't like: walking away from the run. And Josh Jacobs was arrested on assault.
According to a couple people breaking news, yes, Josh Jacobs arrested on assault.
And of course,
Okay, well, we will
this
be
is not
looking that up.
Jacob's
We'll
first,
be Googling that.
transgression, but you gave him a D, and one thing you liked.
The one thing I liked was that they did try to establish Devontae Adams as a
But
receiver.
the thing you didn't like, one thing.
Them abandoning the run so much.
Yeah. And for me, I give it a D. The one thing I hate about this coaching staff: game planning, game prep, play design. I'm talking about the fundamentals of coaching here. I despise it. I don't think they're ready to play anybody. I don't think they've reviewed one film of the team that they're playing with the game plans that I see coming out there. They are not ready for the other guys' best players. I mean, Camera, Kelsey, Etienne. You name it. The best player on these guys' teams runs amok when they play us. It's just stunning. And I still go back to that first half of that Tennessee game. Yeah, kudos. They shut him down, Derrick Henry down the second half. But I'm like, why do we have to wait 2 quarters for that? I mean, didn't you know we're playing Derrick Henry this week? Lack of preparation. One thing I do like about them is that they are willing to try different things. Not that most of them work, but there seems to be an openness to trying something different, at least on offense. Of course, I wish they'd run Zamir. Wish I see Zeus a lot more. I keep asking for Zeus every week, and I'm not getting them, but okay. We're going to skip right to defense midseason review, and let's just give one. You don't have to explain anything. One thing you like, one thing you didn't like. Heidi, defense grade. What have you seen you liked? What have you didn't like?
Well, defense grade, I'll give them a D. Because, once again, we did win 2 games. And they did have to keep the opposing team out of the end zone a few times for that to happen.
Yes.
Things I have liked.
For them. Go ahead.
A few things that I have liked. I will go with my number 1. I'll take the easy one because I'm first. Max Crosby.
Max. Jeff, your midseason grade for the defense.
So for the, 10th, 12th, 15th year in a row, it's going to be an F. I mean,
this.
Yeah, there's so many things to not like. No pass rush. I feel like for whatever reason, this team can only have a maximum of 2 premium pass rushers. It's last year it was Max and Yannick Ngakoue, and this year, if we had, added Chandler Jones to Ngakoue and Max, I think we would have been much better off. But again, we can only have a max of 2 premium pass rushers, so we had to trade one of them so we could get Chandler Jones. The thing that I like, though, was the Chandler Jones sighting versus the Kansas City game. He's been on a milk carton ever since, but I did like that we at least got to feel his presence at least that one game.
Captain, let's go to you for your grade on defense. One thing you liked, one thing you didn't like.
I'm sorry, I actually was busy trying to figure out if that was fake news or not, so I haven't been So come back to me later. I'm still.
Well, of course, defense, I'm going to give it F. And I'm going to say something so controversial, Heidi. Max, he and the entire Raider D-line have been missing in action for so long that y'all are pulling out pictures from last year. First of all, Yannick had 10 sacks, Max 2, but suddenly Yannick is gone, okay? Let's go also to the fact that we all know that without penetration and collapse of the pocket of the two guys in the middle, you don't get sacks. Third of all, we still rank for the 5th or 6th time, and I don't know how many years, 32nd in sacks. We got 9 sacks the entire year. 9. We have gone games with 0. That is unacceptable for a defense. What did I like about the defense? I kind of like Denzel Perryman's play. I kind of like seeing him work. And if there were like 3 of him, I think the Raiders defense would be playing a little bit better, but the big guys up front are always going to get in the way. But I like the way Denzel recognizes. More than anybody on the field, he recognizes a play. He's there. He's in the gap. He's meeting it. He has a minimum of 2 to 3 TFLs, tackles for losses, a game.
Yeah.
And I think that we lack that kind of player, but I sure like to watch him play. Captain, are we ready for you?
Yeah, and again, getting back to the point, and I'm going to actually kind of piggyback off of what you said, Peggy, as far as the defense. Perryman is playing again. He was a Pro Bowler last year, and he's the only guy that seems to be able to tackle this year. Although I do like the addition of Martinez back there, because you said if we had 3 of them, it would be great. So we did pick up another player of Perryman's ilk, even when Perryman was injured. And if you have bookends like that with guys that actually can run and tackle, that's a good thing. The problem
is that the part that you liked about the defense?
Yeah, that they are trying to find linebackers who can actually tackle. The problem is that we still need linebackers that can actually cover. That's the yin and the yang. You get the one, but you still don't have the other. We haven't had that for, I can't I honestly, I can't remember the last time we had a linebacker that can cover. And I'm going back, I'm trying to go back years and years, and none of them come to mind.
Well, we let a linebacker go by the name of Nicholas Morrow, who was pretty decent in coverage. He wasn't great, but he's a lot better than what we had.
Mm-hmm. And they did. And Captain, your grade on defense?
Defense is, I got to give it an F.
Ugh. Are we serious? All 4 of us?
I gave them a D because we did get 2.
D.
Because we did get 2 wins, and they did stop some drives this season from reaching the end zone. Not ones that made it into the red zone.
Nothing that made it. The Raiders are ranked 32nd in red zone points allowed. Oh, by the way, for the 3rd year in a row. Okay, this is not anything new. Change the defensive coordinator. Nothing changes. Change the players. Nothing changes. Okay, I don't know. Is it a voodoo curse? Has a spell been placed on us that we just don't know about? We have to go in the woods and get some clover and rabbit feet? I don't know. Let's move to offense. And Captain, I'm going to start you off. Give me a grade, a mid-season grade for offense. And folks out there, please, want to see your mid-season grade for offense. One thing you
Yeah,
like.
you
one
hit me
thing
up.
you
I was
didn't
trying
like.
to. I was trying to actually run down that other
Oh,
thing
you
that's in the
still.
stream.
All right. Then Heidi, let me go to you. One
Yeah.
thing that you liked, one thing you didn't like, and your grade for offense.
Well, I have liked the establishment of Josh Jacobs as the primary running back and someone who is doing very well this year.
Mm-hmm.
He is having a career year so far, and I have definitely liked that. Overall grade, though, I got to give them a D as well.
Mm-hmm. I figured you were going to do that. You had to. Is there something that you didn't like about the offense?
It's disappearing act.
Yeah. So unfortunate. And that's no accident. And I want to swing right over to you, Jeff. Give me some sort of clue as to why, besides the fact that the other side catches on to us, but give me a clue as to why there would be no adjustments, no way to come back when they figure out what we're doing.
Well, I actually think I actually think there is a dedication or an attempt at a dedication to the run. And we saw it in the Jacksonville game, but even when the pass is working, they want to go back to the run, and then the pass game cools off, and then you have drives where you throw 4 straight passes. You know, we go 4 straight runs, 4 straight passes, and wonder why we go, 3 and out, 4 and out, 5 and out. And there's no variation in the play calling. And I say it to people all the time because our quarterback has had so many head coaches and so many offensive systems, he's become a coach pleaser. He wants to run that coach's offense exactly how they want it run before he gets comfortable or quote unquote freaky with the offense, and he's able to call audibles at the line and stuff like that, where he's able to change plays and go with what he sees. He wants to run it the way his coach wants it run, and that's to his detriment a lot of times.
Well,
it really is.
And guys, y'all saw the report, the reporters on the beat that asked Josh McDaniels that same question. Is Carr allowed to change plays at the line of scrimmage? Absolutely not.
Right. Exactly.
McDaniels' answer was N-O. I was floored. Heidi, I mean,
It didn't surprise me at all that he had that was the case.
Not at all.
He is trying to force Carr into a system that Carr is not made for.
No.
Carr isn't a system quarterback. Yeah, he's trying to force him. He's trying to force the square peg into the round slot, and it is not working.
Well, for the past couple of years, he's been in a West Coast offense. Short passes, slants, get the ball out quick. That's, they used to time Carr. He'd have the ball out in 2.5 seconds. Get the ball out quick to your playmakers. And now it's okay, we're going to run intermediate routes. We're going to run deep routes. That means you have to hold the ball a little bit longer. And this offensive line is not a good pass blocking offensive line. So he's taking a lot more sacks. He's rushing the ball because he's trying to get rid of the ball. It's a completely different passing game offense. And I mean, 8 games in, you're seeing how it's affecting the entire offense, regardless of the personnel.
And
I will say to William Brown, I don't think it's that some players don't want to play for the coach. I think that every player does not want to play for this coach. I don't think there is a man on the team that wants to play for him.
And before I let Captain in, I'd hope Trust Captain's gotten to answer the question. But before I let you in, Chris Cooley, local tight end, former Redskin tight end, has a great show on the air. And several of my friends were listening and they relayed to me. He was asked about the Raiders and Josh McDaniel, specifically Josh McDaniel. Chris Cooley said, number one, Josh McDaniel is a terrible coach. Okay. The second thing Chris Cooley said was about Josh McDaniel's offensive system, his scheme, whatever you want to call it. He said that there's no one in the NFL that's duplicating what he's doing because he has no scheme. He only has what he designed around Tom Brady. That's it.
Correct.
It is the most complicated system because it functions on the brain of Tom Brady.
And him and Tom Brady designed that offense together. That's why they ran it so well.
No one else does it. Josh McDaniels doesn't know anything else. He said it is so complex because it's really designed around the brain of one man. And that was very enlightening that Chris would say that, because that's exactly the struggle that I'm seeing Carr have, right? Heidi, he's not Tom Brady. He's not going to think like Brady.
Nobody is.
React
it's like Tom, what's his name?
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry about that. It's like Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
They were and are coaches on the field. And as much as I enjoy seeing Tom in his losing streak,
not more than I. Not more than I.
Struggling
but
to score 14 points, but go ahead.
Yeah. But they really are. They're coaches on the field, and you can't duplicate that with just any quarterback. Even an NFL caliber quarterback isn't capable of doing that. There is a generational talent that can do that. And that generational talent is in Tampa Bay right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, Captain, and I wanted to come right to you because we're working on that offense. One good thing, one bad thing, and a grade. Mid-season. You still try to chase down.
Yeah, no. I was trying to chase down because I saw that about Jacobs being arrested on assault. Can't see anything about that. I was trying to chase down stuff about Max Crosby and genitalia pics. Didn't see anything about that. I did remember that he used to go out with Rochelle Ryan, who's a pretty hot porn star, but I digress because she is pretty hot.
Have we ascertained whether the story is correct?
Well, according to some, and again, Jason is saying that TMZ has it, but I can't find anything on Josh Jacobs being arrested. So again, I'm not calling it fake news. I'm just calling it. We'll have to see. Okay. But Max, I can't find anything on Max and genitalia pics. So that might be great news. Yeah. Matthew says, I think it's fake news. Rochelle Ryan was not fake news. He was doing her before he got married, but that goes without saying.
He had a little fling with a few different different ladies for a short period of time. He enjoyed himself. He
did, and you know what? God love him. God love him. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. But as far what are we grading now? The offense.
Offense, and one thing you liked, one thing you didn't like.
I like the fact that they were using Foster Moreau when Waller wasn't there, and I like the fact that Hollins was being utilized when the play calling was there for him. That they're utilizing players that will fit in a niche when needed. You know, Foster Moreau doesn't get a lot of credit, but he's a damn good ball catching, blocking tight end. He is that guy that can do both. And when he was out, that hurt us more than when Waller was out. And I think that. Agree. And again, Hollins, when he had made some really good catches for us, that were well needed. But it's the ones that he drops too that are just infuriating as well. So it's kind of the yin and the yang.
Something that you didn't like about the offense?
I don't like the fact that we've hitched our wagons to some dude that is supposedly an offensive guru, but everybody needs
exposed.
Everybody needs it's kind of like the offensive equivalent of Paulie G. Okay. Mm-hmm. You need 3 computers, an abacus, and a TI calculator at the time to figure out his offense, and you don't have time to do that. And I was saying, and at the beginning of the season, I was saying, well, this will be good for Carr because it's an offshoot of the Earhart Perkins offense when he was running in 2016. It's an offshoot of that. Well, apparently the Earhart Perkins offense that was run by Musgrave in 2016 might be the Martian calculus Chinese course of the Earhart Perkins offense because nobody's getting it.
Nobody.
And it's running down where if nobody is getting it, it's not worth the time. And I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because again, he did have some quarterback who shall remain nameless that was running it flawlessly. But as you stated, unless we get the second coming of he who shall not be named in the body of a new quarterback, and I say a new quarterback,
which Josh is shooting for. Go ahead. He wants Carr gone.
I think is ultimately what they're looking for. Okay, because they did have Mac Jones run this offense pretty well last year in New England. Mac Jones was running it, and that was the kid from Bama that wasn't, in a offense that was great. I mean, Sarkisian was his OC last year.
But Mac Jones, we're talking about a guy that's seen only one offensive coordinator his entire life.
I get it, but that's my point. He's looking for the next guy that has the ability in order to ingrain that offense in him. And I don't know whether we're going to be sticking around for that because if he loses the team, and it appears that he has, are we going to stick with him? If you believe Mark Davis, the answer is yes.
And I think we will.
I think we will.
I think we will.
I think we're going to get rid of Carr. We're going to figure this out.
Yeah, that's going to be unfortunate, Jeff. Well, Jeff, your time is we've kept you 15 minutes longer, but I want to thank you so much for coming in with us. We just got a few more things to talk about, but
anytime, absolutely.
You're going to come on back maybe for us in the next year, and by that time you'll be able to give a whole season.
Yes. No, that at any time. This was great. I had a blast. Anytime you guys want me, let me know. I'll be there.
Thank you so much for joining us.
You know what? I didn't get to give my offensive grade.
Did I? Did I skip you?
Mine.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Let me give mine really quickly. The Carr to Adams connection is exactly what I expected it to be. I expected nothing less because they know each other. They work out in the offseason. I expected absolutely nothing less. So the thing that I liked, I won't even have that as the thing that I liked, but the thing that I liked is actually the the next iteration of the veteran wide receiver reclamation project that Carr always does. It's been Nelson Aguilar, James Jones, now it's Mac Hollins. He's always got that number 2 receiver, Tyrell Williams. He's always got that number 2 receiver who always plays really well. Carr always makes him look really good. So I'm pleased with Mac Hollins. I mean, it's not perfect. He's going to drop some balls. That's why Mac Hollins was available. I mean, if he was more, if he was more reliable, he would have stuck with Philly or stuck with Miami. So,
Jeff, give me something that you didn't like about the offense. One thing.
Just, man. Well, since I said trick plays earlier, I will say predictability. Um,
That's a good way. That's a good word. I
he
like it. Don't you
he
like
gets
that
in
word, Heidi? That's the word I've been seeking.
he gets in the play calling gets in ruts, and it's like, okay, four straight runs up the middle, or four straight sweeps, or there's just no variation. And so everybody is kind of off kilter for drives at a time. uh, and I guess, um, I'll be a little generous with the offense, because they're putting up points, minus the New Orleans game, obviously. So I'll give them a C plus. There's definitely room for improvement, but
She said, "Look at Kevin. Hated it.
yeah,
Hated it.
Hated it."
I'll give
Hated
them a,
it.
I'll give them a C plus. There's definite room for improvement, but
And I
yeah.
agree with that, Greg. Okay, Jeff, I don't want to hold you any longer. And we're going to move on for our last half hour. But again, I say and you and I are going to be talking again.
Oh, you know it. Absolutely.
All right. Maybe we get our boy D Cato to join us one time. That ought to be interesting. Captain, you're going to love D. And so
Okay.
will you, Heidi.
I have not been upset with anybody you brought on, honey. You know that.
Oh, no, but they are the people. When they talk, I listen.
And next week is my sidekick.
This
Definitely, Jeff.
generation's version of E.F. Hutton, huh?
That's right. There's no
Okay.
question about it. That's where I got what I know about football from guys like Jeff. So we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. I look forward to it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Bye.
Jeff, hey,
Thank you. Bye.
welcome in, and you're welcome anytime, partner. Great having you here.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I actually, guys, wanted to move on to talk about something that we should have put right up front, and that's the passing of Ray Guy. And I wanted to get your impression, because he's absolutely my favorite, one of my favorite Raider legends. Met him in person at least 3 times. Have autographed photos of him, like 5 or 6 of them, because I kept getting back in line, right? buying more. Heidi?
Oh,
Your
he is
memories of
definitely
Ray Guy.
definitely one of my favorites. I'll give everyone a sneak peek for tomorrow's episode of the Only Nation podcast. He is my hero for the week. He is my Raider legend hero for the week. And I had a nice article that I read about him. But he is a good guy and such an incredible overall athlete. I think that's one thing that a lot of people kind of forgot or never knew about him, because, hey, he's just a punter, right?
Mhm.
No, he was a lot more than a punter. He was a lot more than just a football player. He was a great baseball player. He was a great basketball player as well.
Awesome.
And in college, he had, what was it, 8 interceptions in one season as a defensive back.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he was an incredible man and an incredible Raider. And I have to admit that whenever any of the Raider legends pass, I'm saddened and feel bad about it. But I felt an especially deep pang when I heard about him. I didn't even know that he had been on hospice. I missed Black Widow's post the day before that announced he had been on hospice. And when I saw that you had changed your profile photo, Peggy,
Yes, I did.
I
Perfect symmetry, right?
my
Straight up in the
my
air.
heart sank,
I
because
know.
I
know.
realized that you probably would not be changing to that picture for no reason, and that probably was the reason. And so I, quickly looked it up and realized that he had indeed passed. But he was a great one. He was not just a guy, he was the guy. He was a classy writer.
And Captain, your thoughts about give us a Ray Guy story. I know you got one in you, right? Heidi, you know he's got one.
The
Yeah,
Super Bowl story. The Super Bowl story.
well, that goes without saying, but I knew, or I was told that Ray was on his last legs in New Orleans last week,
Right.
because I met some people that were there, and they saw me, and I was talking with them, and the one lady said that, hey, I'm the real Raider fan. My husband's just wearing Raider stuff for me, and it's because of me being a Raider fan. And they said that they were very close to Ray Guy, and they said that he was not long for life. And that was Sunday. That was game day on Sunday. And I gave him a card that said, well, if he's ever feeling better and he wants to, because I didn't realize to what extent his maladies were. I didn't know exactly. He just said that he was in very bad shape. I said, well, if he's ever in where he can talk to us and wants to, hang out with Raider Nation, I'd love to have him, because I love him as a person. But and so him passing shortly, I think it was like 4 days thereafter. Again, I knew it was coming, per that person, per the source. And it's always hard when you lose somebody. And again, like Heidi was saying, he played safety in college. He was the punter. He was an extra quarterback. In fact, he was our emergency quarterback when I think it was, I can't remember which quarterbacks was that. It was Stabler went down and Mike Ray went down in the Chicago game, where all the quarterbacks were being killed. And I think it was the only time that Ray said about going into the game, because that was.
Well, he ain't doing that one.
That was
do
the
every
Chicago
other magic trick, but not that one.
Yeah, that was the Chicago defense, and it's like he was slated to be in, and he's like, So yeah, he knew about that because that was when was it Hendricks got rid of that. I think Avellini was the quarterback, and he took him out of the game. They took Stabler out of the game. They took Ray out of the game. I think Stabler came back that game, and they were glad because they didn't want to see Ray Guy get killed back there. But actually, when Ray was drafted, John Madden lied to him and said, "Oh yeah, well we're going to put you back, but you're not just the punter."
Right.
We're gonna have you play some.
We're gonna have you do a Sammy Ball. Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna have to be some plays for you. We're gonna throw you in a quarterback. We're gonna play you at safety. No. They had, when the Raiders drafted Ray Guy, and this has been in the book, both the offensive scouts and the defensive scouts had one person in mind, because DePoyster was the punter before Ray Guy, and he was god awful. Okay, Jerry DePoyster was the punter in 1971 or 72, and all of the scouts had one person on their list for their first round draft pick, and all of them had Ray Guy because they knew how much of a asset he would be. That was the one thing that the Raiders were needing, and obviously as a Hall of Famer, the only punter in the Hall of Fame, and it was well overdue. And even when at the All Pro or the Pro Bowl game, and Madden was coaching the Pro Bowl game, and Ray's like, "Hey, let me kick it." And this was in the Superdome as well. Let me see if I can kick it to the gondola. And Madden's like, "What are you talking about?"
Everybody knows the gondola.
And then he's like, "You know what? Yeah, this is an All-Star game. Why not?" And Ray bounced it off the gondola that used to be in the center of the Superdome, because his punts were that high and that long. In fact, one of the one of the coaches on the other team wanted the balls checked for helium. They thought that Ray was using helium in his balls when he was kicking them, because he was just getting so much air underneath him. And of course, it wasn't helium; it was just Ray's ability. And there will never be another Ray Guy. There will never be another Ray Guy.
No, and I've got a little gray guy story, and this was a personal meeting with him. He's sitting on one side of the hotel cafe. I'm sitting on the other. I'm taking a break because we've got to go out and do a tour somewhere. And there, I looked up, and there was this guy staring at me because I had my Raiders stuff on. And I looked up. I said, wait a minute. I've seen that goatee before, right? And I went over to the table. I said, you're a Raider legend, aren't you? You're a Ray guy. He says, nope, never heard of him. And pushed his chair back, got up, and went back over to the bar, and then started laughing. Laughing. I said, no, you're a Ray guy. He was laughing so hard. Next thing I know, he was buying me a drink. And we were talking football. We were talking Super Bowls. We were talking championships. And we were talking about Al Davis and how he loved the kicking game. And how he wasn't afraid to draft a kicker first round if he thought somebody else was going to get him. And Guy actually told me that Al had said to him when he walked up and said, why am I picked first round? I was expecting to go second round. Al said to him, because I didn't want the other bastards to have him. I didn't want anybody else to get him. And I figured first round was where you belong. And he told me many other stories. This happened about 10 years ago in Charlotte, North Carolina, at the Charlotte Marriott when we were playing the Panthers. I'll never forget it as long as I live. But it was sad to see him go. Now we've got something to close it out for the last 12 minutes. I've got something that we do on our Gridiron page, and it's called MVP. And since it's mid-season, you start thinking, I'm going to give you a position like head coach. And I'd like you to give me a nominee. Who you nominate for MVP.
In the whole league.
Right, in the whole league. Now we're going to go in the whole league. Let's just fool around with running back. MVP for running back.
You got to pick something that I'm not even paying attention to.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not paying attention to the rest of the league. I'm paying attention to my team.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, we'll see if I ask MVP running back.
Well, I mean, other than Jacobs, I haven't, and I mean this. I am not trying to cop out of it. I haven't watched any football this year other than what's been in front of me.
You guys, and that's okay, because now
you gotta go with him.
And wait a minute. So now my brain is twisting now. My brain is one thing that the Raiders have to do to turn their season around. Just offense or defense. I'm going to stick with defense so you guys can go off the reservation to offense. One thing that the Raiders have to do.
Commit to the running game.
Absolutely.
And actually stick with it.
And out there, your comments, the one thing that the Raiders have to do to turn their season around. And
Fire McDaniels.
Not necessarily, but Peggy, the fact that you said that, and I missed that, where McDaniel said, "Can Carr change plays?" and he said, "Absolutely."
Oh no, I'll
not.
send you the article. Absolutely.
I believe you. And if that's true, then I would say what needs to be done is that for Derek Carr to say, "This is the play," because your stuff isn't open. I'm calling what I see that will work. Okay. and he's either going to be the greatest person, or he's going to be it's boom or bust. If he's calling it, it better be there. It better be there. But I want to see him call the plays. If what he is being given, and that's probably what he was alluding to in the. There's a lot of things going on, but I can't talk about it here.
Exactly.
If that's what he's alluding to, then yeah. If the play he sees, because he sees it right there, and McDaniel's calling it, like 30 seconds prior, but Carr is seeing what he sees. If it ain't gonna work, check out of it, and have the balls to do it.
But he's not allowed, and this is the most important thing we have to understand about the type of guy McDaniels is. And Heidi, you said fire McDaniels, and I want to just piggyback off us. What he thinks happens if we do. Your wishes
can't get any worse.
Who would be the interim? That would be in my next question, right?
Rob Ryan.
Is he on the team? Are we going to do
that? Yeah. I saw.
Rob Ryan's there.
Rob Ryan was like 10 feet in front of me in Jacksonville. The only person whose hair is nicer than mine.
Son of Buddy. Brother of Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A head coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't do worse.
You think you think he could do worse than Josh McDaniels?
Well, I'm all for Rob stepping in for Graham. I went back and looked at Graham's resume, and I'm looking at basically the New England fraternity, right? All these boys looking out for each other, right? Lombardi. I'm looking at all of those, and this is normal for a head coach, right? To bring in guys he trusts.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, it gives them tunnel vision. They can't see, in my opinion, anything else but some sort of vision. I don't know what at this moment Graham is looking at. Do you fire Graham?
Yeah.
Who do you replace him with? You've already got
Rob
as head coach.
Rob Ryan.
So
Rob Ryan is the interim DC and head coach.
Oh my God. Oh my God!
I don't know who we got on offense other than, because Nick Lombardi needs to go too. I don't know. I do not know who the other coaches are, but I'm sure that Rob can probably find somebody if they're not already on staff saying, "You're my OC," okay? And he can find somebody. There's somebody that's unemployed right now that can be better than what we got. If you're gonna shit can the whole offense and defense, you're gonna fire Graham, you're gonna fire McDaniel. Let Rob Ryan be the head coach in DC and have him find an OC. It can't be any worse than what we got.
And that segues me right into what is happening with our next opponent, the Colts. What in the world? Let me roll the videotape. And I'm sure our audience can help us out there, because this is like a mystery, right? Mystery date, or what do they call it? Clue. We roll the videotape back a week or 2 weeks. We see this announcement. Matt Ryan will be sat down for the rest of the season. Sam Ehlinger, whatever, will now be the quarterback. Who made that decision? Was it Reich, or was it the pill popper, Irsay?
I was going to say, I thought it would be the owner
to sit a quarterback down. You guys,
clue in that clue. In that organization, I would say yes.
All right, let's roll the videotape forward 1 week. We look down on Monday, the announcement. Marcus Brady, the offensive coordinator, has been fired. Who made that decision? I mean, are you thinking maybe Frank's throwing somebody under the bus? Or are you thinking Irsay picked up the phone again? What are you thinking? Because I have just assumed that Reich was calling the plays, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought he was the de facto OC.
All right. And if that's the case, then why are you firing Marcus Brady?
As a scapegoat.
Yeah,
Then that was a Frank decision, was it not?
I would say so.
Clue, we're playing Clue, guys. We'll think about why we believe that way. Let's fast forward again. Monday, yesterday, we get the word. Captain, you're all right, aren't you, honey?
No, I just got an eye migraine. Go ahead, honey.
Oh. And we fast forward and we see the announcement early in the morning, 10 a.m., Frank Reich fired.
That
Okay.
vote of confidence was not that confident.
And remind you, 3 weeks ago, Irsay had promised, as late as October 30th, Irsay had been asked the question about Reich, and he said, no, Reich's here to stay. Yesterday, Irsay is fired. And I'm saying, okay, where's the announcer of the interim? Guys, who's the interim coach?
Jeff Saturday.
Mind you, one of the top 10 centers ever to play the game, in my view. Great film on him. He was head coach of a college prep high school. Starts with the H, I've forgotten. Something Academy in Georgia, 2017 to 2020. He has no other coaching experience.
Yeah, and it's here's the thing on that, and they're either setting the team up for trying to go for that top spot as well.
Willie Wayne, you're a bad boy.
And actually, I agree with Willie Wayne. Frank Reich is out there.
Frank Reich is, I'm so sad, that he just couldn't make it in Indy.
Yeah. But it's like there's the answer to the question. You have Rob Ryan be the DC and overall head coach. You grab Frank Reich as your OC. You can't do worse. You can't do worse. And then you let him and Carr call. I mean, he can work with Carr until the end of the season when you do find a quarterback of the future.
Well, you're looking for the coach of the future because remember you sent McDaniels bye-bye, so you sent him off,
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm asking that question. Now, last clue question. What are our chances for winning Sunday?
50-50.
Yeah, 50-50. That's what I was going to say.
Tough. You guys are a tough crowd. Y'all do. Heidi, why in the world would you think it'd be 50-50 against a team with a guy who's never been coached? Who, oh, by the way, has not found a new offensive coordinator yet, as we speak.
Because that guy who was a high school football coach is coaching against Josh McDaniels. That gives him a 50-50 chance.
Oh, man, this crowd, they're not laughing at any of my jokes, Captain. Why in the world would you say 50-50?
Because somebody has to win unless we both tie. Which is why numerically that is the correct answer. You have a 50% chance of winning because somebody should win. And it might be us, it might not be us, unless there's a tie and then nobody wins, but it's kind of like a 50-50 chance. So,
and Matthew is such a cruel guy. We go up 20-0 at halftime, and then the Colts score 27 unanswered.
It would not be unheard of. And it's if that happens, I'm kind of glad that this is the game that I don't see it live. Yeah.
I mean,
and Richie Riche says that it's 60-40.
No, yeah, but which one's 60?
I don't know.
60-40. He's giving it a better. But now, mind you, the Colts O-line is one of the reasons why Matt Ryan is sitting on the bench and why Wentz got run out of town. Okay, that O-line has clearly taken a step back, and I think the Colts fans tell me key injuries, right? And I don't know, but I'm not feeling no pain for them. I'm feeling pain at y'all's 50-50 chances against a guy who coached in high school, no offensive coordinator as of Tuesday. And you guys are telling me we only have a 50-50 chance.
I'm going to also say this. I don't know what the status is of Jonathan Taylor, because we haven't been able to stop the run all year with Kamara, with Etienne. If Jonathan Taylor plays, the Raiders lose.
But we have to note that he's having an awful time. He came back. He first injured that ankle in game 4. Okay? He tried to come back for the Commanders game. And that he was out 3 games. He tried to come back for the Commanders game. He re-injured that ankle. Now I'm seeing stuff like, oh, the Colts aren't going to have to put Taylor on IR. Reminds me of McFadden. Remember the week-to-week contest as to, is he going to play? Is he not? And wasn't that 2012 that happened? Is he going to play?
It's been a while. Yeah.
And I'm just saying to you, the Colts are not being upfront about Taylor's injury. It's obvious.
But then again, the Raiders are not being upfront about Waller's injury now, are they?
No, they aren't.
No.
Matter of fact, it's gone dead silent. Have you heard a word about his return? Have you heard that he's back in practice?
No.
Last I heard was the typical crickets chirping, we're hoping he's back for the Colts game.
Yeah. And the other thing about, and I think Gabe, Giant Gabe was asking me, he said, well, the Packers tried to trade a 2nd-round pick for Waller, and the Raiders said no. The reason why is because he wouldn't have passed the physical.
Oh,
That's
God.
why the Raiders said no.
Gosh.
That's why the
God.
Raiders said no, because then it would be out there what his injury was.
If anybody out there can help us, and we're coming to the end of our time, but if anybody out there can help and tell us, do we know what Waller's injury is? I mean, first I heard an ankle, then I heard a hamstring. Was that the latest?
Yeah.
Last I heard was hamstring. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and according to the source that I have, and I won't say who it is, according to the source that I had, it is torn. It's not strained.
Oh, God.
It's torn. And that's why he hasn't come back.
Mm-hmm. Well, on that note, I think it's time for me to say goodbye, but certainly I am glad to see our crew in there chipping in and giving us new ideas. Thanks again to Jeff, my guru, DC guru Jeff, for coming on and helping us out this week. And as always, I enjoyed being on with you, at Heidi, you, and Captain. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
We're going to have fun. We're going to do this in 2 more weeks. And I believe we're going to have another guest, aren't we?
We are. We're going to have my sidekick with us.
And now that's right. And do we need any plugs? Let's do it. Other than that, thank you, everybody. We are out of here.
There you go.
Check out tomorrow's episode of the Only Nation podcast.
Yes, please do, with T3 and Kevlar Prom dress. See you soon, guys.
And I'll give my plugs after you ladies are gone. Thanks again, ladies, for being here. This is the Captain Jack presents Silver and Black Ladies Night. Those are the ladies, and I'm the old silver and black guy, I guess, you know.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for coming.
They're the beauties of my beast, for sure.
Thank you, Captain. Good night.
Good night.
All right, good night. All right, folks. Again, that was tonight's Silver and Black Ladies Night. Always a pleasure. Make sure you join me tomorrow for 2 shows. It'll be Wild Wild West at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Wild Wild West, 7:30 p.m. Eastern here on this channel. Then at 9, you have NFL Nation Live also here on this channel. You can actually watch us there on NFL Nation Live on the YouTube channel with Ref Guru. and Violator and myself. It'll be on his channel. It'll also be on this channel. Thursday will be You Don't Know Jack About Sports. Again, 9 o'clock Eastern. And then I'm not going anywhere this weekend, so I'm going to actually get some rest. But again, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here again. Make sure you are... Yeah, okay, I see it, Richie. I'll see if I can get over there. Wild Wild West tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Wild Wild West, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And be there for that. NFL Nation Live at 9 o'clock Eastern. And then Thursday, 9 o'clock, You Don't Know Jack About Sports. All on this channel. Y'all take care. We'll see you next time. And thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure here on this channel. And the ladies of Silver and Black Ladies Night. Take care, everybody.